Hello everyone! Welcome back! In this video, I'm gonna show you the Little Jaws build without using Kukri or Rusted Blade. So let's jump right into it. Alright, let's kick things off with the weapon mods. For Little Jaws, I'm using Bombardier Souvenir. I picked this because every time an explosion goes off, it automatically refills 10% of your ammo. So the more ammo you have, the more explosions you can trigger. For the attribute effects, focus on elemental damage, damage against great ones, damage against elite enemies, and status damage. Or if you prefer, you can focus on magazine capacity instead. Here, as you can see, I'm using the talent suffix, but you can also go with the unstable bomber suffix if you want. Now, for my secondary weapon, I'm using Bingo because it can trigger bullseye in just one shot. For the mods, I'm running Vulnerability Amplifier. And for the attribute effects, focus on critical damage and bullseye's duration. For the Little Jaws calibration, I'm using Heavy Style with double elemental damage. And for the Bingo, I'm running Rapid Shot Style with double weak spot damage. For my equipment armor, I'm running 3 Treacherous Tides and 2 Lone Wolf. I'm using 2 Lone Wolf pieces because I want that mag capacity. And for the key gear, I'm using Explosive Front Top. For a crafting tip, make sure to use rabbit skin when crafting your mask to get an extra 4% elemental damage. Now, let's talk about the armor mods. For the helmet, I'm using Deviation Expert with a lunar suffix. For the attribute effects, focus on elemental damage, damage against great ones, damage against elite enemies, and status damage. These are the core attribute effects you should focus on for all your mods. For the mask, I'm using Delayed Blast with an unstable bomber suffix. The attribute effects you should focus on for this suffix are unstable bomber damage, blast damage, damage against elite enemies, and damage against great ones. For the top, I'm using Quick Comeback with a lunar suffix because it's the only mod I've got with best attribute effects. But ideally, you should go with Ardent Shield with a lunar suffix. For the pants, I'm using Deadshot with a resonance suffix. If you don't want to go with Deadshot, you can swap it out for Elemental Resonance instead. For the gloves, I'm using Elemental Overload with a talent suffix, but you can also go with Status Enhancement. Just pick whichever one has the best attribute effects. For the shoes, I'm using Rush Hour with a talent suffix. If you're wondering how to get lunar suffix, look for a scenario with a Starfall inversion tag. That's where you'll farm Gravity Crystal to buy the lunar mod. To buy it, just press F3, open the Visional Wheel, go to Starfall Collection and head into the Pass shop. This is where you can buy the lunar mods. For the Cradle effect, I'm using Anti-Phase, Deviant Energy Defense, Elemental Sense, Explosive Bonus, Marked Strike, Status Enhancement, Tactical Combo, and Tactical Leap. For Tactical Leap, you will need to double jump or stay mid-air to activate the effect, and it can stack up to 60 times. To maintain those stacks, you can just keep jumping. This is where you get a 20% damage boost against deviants and 10% extra damage against their shields. For my deviant, I'm using Shattered Maiden, and if you have the Psychic Kid trait, you'll also get an extra 5% status damage. To obtain Shattered Maiden, you need to clear out zombies by starting the workshop machine in the Blackfell Oil Fields. Alright, now let's talk about the best ammo to equip for this weapon. The best ammo for this weapon are suppression ammo and penetration ammo, and which one you use depends on the situation. If you're up against humanoid enemies, go with penetration ammo. If you're fighting deviants, switch to suppression ammo. And by the way, in the intro, the damage you saw was only with steel ammo. Imagine if it was suppression or penetration ammo. Now, for the weapon accessories, it's really up to you which ones you want to use. Just make sure to boost your stability and equip the weighted SMG magazine. Now let's move on to the food buffs. If your role is chef, you can eat 2 foods and drink 2 drinks. For food, eat mixed fried hot dog to boost your damage by 20% against enemies affected by bullseye, and deviated sausage to increase your damage against bosses by 15%. For drinks, go with whimsical to boost status damage by 25%, and Stardust Energy to gain the double jump ability. Make sure to cook your food buffs using pork meat for an extra 2% unstable bomber damage. Here an extra tip, make sure you have the advanced stove gourmand effect to increase the buff base effect and duration, and long-term storage to last long your food from expiring. You can get this from the mimetic specialization, or try asking in world chat if anyone's selling them. And here a pro Chefosaurus Rex tip, before cooking whimsical drink or sausage, cook any other food first. then wait for the Chefosaurus to start cooking. Once you see him cooking, then cook the whimsical and sausage. This way you get a Chefosaurus buff. Now, if you want to push your explosion damage even higher, use Gulp lore. This buff gives you a 10% increase to bomber range and 20% extra damage for 30 seconds every time you kill an enemy with this weapon, and it can stack up to 5 times. Another way to activate the Gulp lore buff is by using an ice cube. Just shoot it, and repeat that 5 times to stack it up. Now, just switch back to the preset with Bingo to trigger Bullseye. And yeah, before I go in to kill the boss, I always stack up Gulp lore 5 times. That way I can take him down without giving the boss chance to go immune. So that's it for this video. If this guide helped you out, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Once Human tutorial videos. And if I missed anything, drop a comment down below and let me know which build you'd like to see me to do next. See you in the next one!